I'm Taylor, 27, female. I live in a decent-sized city, in an apartment that's just big enough for me and my cat. I work as a project manager for a mid-sized tech solutions company. It's a demanding job, full of spreadsheets, deadlines, and managing personalities, but I'm good at it, and I've built a solid career. My life was, by all accounts, stable, organized, and predictable. That is, until a single careless comment at a family dinner managed to light a fuse on a secret that had been costing my entire team. It's funny how family can see your success not as something you've earned, but as an abstract bank they can either admire or, in my case, dismiss. My cousin Liam was the master of a special kind of condescending dismissal, and he was about to learn, in the most public way possible, the difference between funny money and a very real, very overdue debt. Before this story unfolds, I'd love to connect with you. Please let me know in the comments where you're watching from and what time it is in your corner of the world. It's amazing to see how far these stories can travel. The scene was a standard family birthday party, this time for my uncle. It was at my Aunt Susan's house, which meant the wine was expensive and the judgment was free. Aunt Susan, Liam's mother, is a real estate agent who firmly believes that image is everything. And the image she prized most was that of her brilliant son, Liam. Liam, at 30, was a marketing consultant. This was a vague, self-appointed title that seemed to involve a lot of buzzwords, slick social media posts from airport lounges, and very few concrete clients. He wore blazers with jeans, sported a watch that was worth more than my first car, and had a smile that was all teeth and no warmth. I, on the other hand, was just Taylor. Taylor who worked in an office. Taylor who was so organized, Taylor who, in their eyes, was a cog in a machine. I was in the kitchen helping my aunt clear plates when the conversation in the dining room drifted to work. My uncle asked me how my new project was going. I'd just spent 6 months of my life landing and launching a massive new client integration. It was a $25 million contract for my company, a huge win that had involved sleepless nights and a level of logistical coordination that would make a general proud. "It's going well, thanks," I said. "We just launched the final phase. It was a big one for us. A $25 million deal." Aunt Susan, who had overheard, chimed in, "Oh, $25 million, goodness, Taylor. It's amazing what companies will just throw around, isn't it?" Before I could even process that, Liam sauntered in, swirling his wine. $25 million. Must be nice playing with funny money, Tay. He chuckled, that condescending, breathy sound. "I mean, it's not like it's real money, is it? It's just numbers on a spreadsheet for you guys, not like the rest of us in the trenches, building a business from scratch." He patted my shoulder. The gesture was meant to be affectionate, but it felt like a dismissal. Aunt Susan beamed at him. "Oh, Liam, you're so sharp, that's exactly it. You're out there making real things happen. Taylor just manages the people who do." I just smiled, a tight, non-committal smile. What was I supposed to say? That the funny money I just secured was responsible for the salaries of 30 people? That my just managing was the only thing that kept the entire project from collapsing? In my family, you didn't argue. You just nodded and passed the appetizers. But that comment, funny money, stuck with me. It was a tiny, sharp piece of glass under my skin, and I had no idea it was about to become the key to everything. To understand what happened next, you need to go back about a year. My company was launching a new software product, and we needed a short-term, specialized marketing campaign. It was a fast turnaround project, and our usual vendors were booked. That was when the phone calls from Aunt Susan started. "Taylor, honey, I have the most wonderful idea." She'd trilled into the phone. "You know your cousin Liam is just a genius at this sort of thing. His consulting firm, Consult Liam, so clever, right, is doing incredible work." I was hesitant. "Aunt Susan, it's a very specific B2B tech campaign. I'm not sure it's..." "Nonsense. He just did a whole thing for a new yoga studio. He said their client engagement went up 200%. He's brilliant, Taylor. You have to help him. He just needs a foot in the door at a real company like yours. Family helps family, right?" The pressure was immense. It came from her, from my mom. "It would be nice, honey, just to meet with him. From everyone." To keep the peace, I reluctantly agreed to have my department manager review his proposal. Liam's proposal was all flash and no substance, full of metrics he couldn't possibly guarantee and marketing jargon that sounded impressive but meant nothing. My boss was skeptical. "This guy seems like a lightweight, Taylor." I know, I said, wincing. "But he's family, and my aunt is. Persistent, look, can we just give him a small 6-month contract, the smallest one? It's a new product launch, so we're testing multiple channels. We can just test him. We signed Consult Liam for a 6-month, 3-milestone contract. The total value was just over $84,000. It was a disaster. His team missed deadlines. The reports they delivered were just screenshots from generic analytics platforms, riddled with typos. I and my internal team ended up redoing almost all of their work. We had to cover for them constantly just to get the product launched. When the 6 months were finally up, we let the contract expire with a polite "we'll keep you in mind for future projects." My team and I breathed a collective sigh of relief. We paid his first 2 invoices to get him out of our hair. The final milestone payment was tied to the project's completion, and in the chaos of the launch, we all just forgot. The project was over, Consult Liam was out of our lives, and we moved on. Or so I thought. Fast forward to the present, about 2 weeks after the funny money comment. I was at work, wrapping up my week, when my best work friend, Chloe, poked her head into my office. Chloe is a senior accountant, and she's the sharpest person I know. When she's not saving the company a fortune, she's my sounding board for all my family's nonsense. "Hey, Tay," she said, holding a coffee. "Got a weird one for you. You have a minute?" "Sure, what's up?" She came in and sat down, her expression less friendly chat and more accounting problem. "You know, we're doing the year-end audit, right? Cleaning up the books, chasing old invoices, all that fun stuff." "Yep." "Well, I'm going through the bad debt ledger, accounts we've all but given up on, and a vendor name popped up that was flagged as being related to your department, specifically one of your projects from last year." She turned her laptop around. On the screen was a spreadsheet, and in one row, highlighted in red, was a name I tried to forget. Vendor, Consult Liam, amount due, $84,320. 17 status, 270 plus days past due, moved to third, party collections. I just stared. My blood ran cold. $84,000. No, that can't be right. We paid him, didn't we? Chloe shook her head, pulling up another file. That's the crazy part. Your department signed off on the project completion, which automatically triggered the final milestone payment. Our old accounts payable clerk, the one who got fired in May, he messed it up. He supposedly sent a check, but it was to a bad address. It was never cashed. Expired? So we just owe him money. I was confused. Not anymore, Chloe said, her voice tight. When we caught the error, our new AP team tried to fix it. They issued a new check. They called the number on file. They sent emails. Nothing. No response. The check was never deposited. We sent certified letters to the address on the contract. They were all returned, addressee unknown. She took a sip of her coffee. After 90 days of no contact, it automatically rolled to our external collections agency. They haven't had any luck either. The guy is a ghost. The address on his contract was a P.O. box that he closed 6 months ago. I was floored. He had ghosted us on a $84,000 payment we were trying to give him. So, Chloe concluded after 270 days we're writing it off. It's officially a bad debt, a loss. A loss. I thought back to Liam bragging at the party, his expensive watch, his real-world comments. And then I thought about his funny money remark. He had been actively dodging an $84,000 payout from my funny money company. It didn't make any sense. I couldn't let it go. All weekend, the numbers $84,320. 17 and $25,000 swirled in my head, along with Liam's stupid, smirking face. Why would anyone, even someone as disorganized as Liam, walk away from that much money? My first thought was diplomacy. This had to be a massive, absurd misunderstanding. I didn't want to call Liam directly. My pride was still smarting. So I did the next best thing. I called the one person who always knew his business. "Hi, Aunt Susan. Quick question for you," I said, trying to sound breezy. "I was just doing some financial cleanup at work, and I need to get in touch with Liam. It looks like my company still owes his firm some money from that project last year. Do you have his new office address?" There was a pause. When Aunt Susan spoke, her voice was clipped and cold. "Why, what's going on? It's just an accounting mix-up," I explained. "It's a pretty significant payment, and we've been trying to get it to him, but all our letters are being returned. We just need a good address for him." "Oh, Taylor, don't be ridiculous," she snapped. "Liam is doing so well. He's landing huge clients. He just flew to Miami for a conference. He doesn't need your company's little handout." I blinked, stunned. "Aunt Susan, it's not a handout. It's an $84,000 payment for services rendered. We're legally trying to pay him. The line went silent for a long moment. 84. Oh, she said, her voice suddenly small. Then, just as quickly, the walls went up. Well, I'm sure he's just terribly busy. You know how these high-level consultants are. He'll get around to it. We need to get around to it now, I said, my patience fading. It's a legal and financial liability for us. That's when her tone turned, the supportive aunt vanished, and the mother bear came out. Taylor, you are not going to make trouble for him, are you? He's family. You can't just sick your company on him. It's not like that big, rich company of yours is even going to notice that money is gone. It's a rounding error for you people. You probably make that much in a day, you people. There it was, the same dismissal, the same belief that my work, my company, my success, was just a rounding error, an abstract ATM for you people, but a hard-fought battle for real-world heroes like Liam. I have to go, Aunt Susan, I said, my voice dangerously calm. You let this go, Taylor, she ordered. He's family. Don't make it awkward. I hung up the phone, shaking. Don't make it awkward. She had no idea. The funny money comment now felt like a direct insult. He wasn't just dismissing my success. He was actively stealing from my company while his mother called it a rounding error. On Monday, I walked straight to Chloe's desk. I need a favor, and I need you to not ask any questions until I'm done. Chloe leaned back, folding her arms. This sounds like the plot of a movie I want to watch. Go on. That $84 zero right off, I said. Where does that loss get allocated? Chloe's eyes narrowed. It comes from the originating department's budget. Why? My heart sank, so. That loss hits my department's P&L. Technically, yes, she said. It's booked as a loss against the project you managed. I felt sick. Our Q4 bonus pool. You told me it was lower than projected. You said the budget was just tight this year. Chloe's professional mask slipped. She knew where this was going. Oh, Taylor, yes, the $84K right off as a direct hit. It's almost, it's pretty much the exact difference in your team's bonus pool. My team, the people who had worked nights and weekends. The ones who had covered for Liam's incompetence, the ones I had to tell that the budget was tight. All this time, I thought it was just corporate belt, tightening, but it wasn't. It was Liam. He hadn't just stiffed a faceless corporation. He had stolen directly from my colleagues. He had taken their real money. I took a deep, slow breath. He's family echoed in my head, followed by funny money and rounding error. The anger was so cold and clear it felt like ice in my veins. This wasn't about family pride anymore. This was about justice for my team, Chloe. I said, my voice perfectly level. Thanksgiving is in 2 days. It's at Aunt Susan's house. Liam will be there. Chloe's jaw dropped. Taylor, no. Taylor, yes, I replied. You said the collections agency was third party, but is the debt still legally ours? Can our company still pursue it? Absolutely, Chloe said, a slow, dangerous smile spreading across her face. It's our asset until we sell the debt, which we haven't. We just stopped trying, but we could restart legal proceedings tomorrow. Good, I said. I need you to print me some documents. I don't want the accounting spreadsheets. I want the scary stuff. I want the official, final notice from the collections agency, the one with the red past due stamp. I want the original contract with his signature highlighted, and I want a new, itemized invoice, not for $84,000. I want one with 270 days of interest and late fees. Calculate it to the penny. That, Chloe said, already typing, is the most beautiful sentence I've ever heard. You'll have it in a legal, sized envelope in 10 minutes. Thanksgiving was exactly as I'd pictured. The house smelled like turkey and smugness. Aunt Susan's decor was impeccable, and Liam, in a cashmere sweater, was holding court in the living room, a glass of expensive bourbon in his hand. I was polite. I was quiet. I helped in the kitchen. I smiled at my relatives. I held the large, stiff envelope in my purse like a secret weapon. We all sat down to dinner. The table was groaning with food. The small talk was, as always, painfully banal. Until, inevitably, the conversation turned to work. My uncle asked Liam how the marketing world was. It's incredible, Uncle Frank. Liam said, leaning back, it's all about authenticity, about real connection, not like these old-school companies. He gestured vaguely, then his eyes landed on me. He smiled that shark's smile. Take Taylor's company. No offense, Tay. They just landed that huge $25 million project, right? I just nodded, taking a sip of water. 25 million, he mused, swirling his bourbon. It's not real, is it? It's just numbers in a database. It's funny money. Not like my world, where you have to fight for every dollar. The table chuckled. Aunt Susan looked at him with such pride it made me ill. That was my cue. I smiled. A bright, calm, polite smile. You're absolutely right, Liam, I said. The table went quiet. I'd never agreed with him before. That $25 million is just a number on a page. It's an abstract concept. I reached into my purse and pulled out the large, legal-sized envelope. But this, I said, my voice clear and steady in the sudden silence, this is very real. I slid the envelope across the table right onto his bread plate. Taylor, not at the table. Aunt Susan hissed, her face instantly pale. Liam just stared at the envelope. What is this, a joke? Open it, I said. His hands were shaking slightly. He fumbled with the clasp and pulled out the stack of papers. His eyes scanned the first page, the one from the collections agency. The one with the big red box that said, Final Notice, Demand for Payment Client, Consult Liam amount due $84,320. 17, the color drained from his face. He looked up at me, his eyes wide with panic. This is a misunderstanding, is it? I asked, keeping my voice light. Because Consult Liam has been dodging our calls, our emails, and our certified letters for 270 days. This isn't a misunderstanding, Liam. This is theft. The table was completely, utterly silent. You could hear a pin drop. Taylor, Aunt Susan screeched, this is a private family matter. It stopped being a private matter when he stole from my company, I said, turning to her, and it stopped being a rounding error when I found out this exact amount was cut from my team's bonuses. I turned back to Liam, who looked like he was going to be sick. You mocked that my $25 million wasn't real. You called it funny money, so I'll make you a deal. I leaned in. If my money isn't real, then your debt isn't real either. We can just call it even, but if my company's money is real, then you'd better pay my company the $84,000 you owe. I looked around at the stunned faces of my family. This document, I said, tapping the invoice, includes late fees and interest, but I'll tell you what, if a wire transfer for the original $84,320, 17 appears in my company's account by 9 a.m. on Monday, I'll tell our legal department to stand down. But if it's not, we're filing the lawsuit, and we'll be adding legal fees to the bill. Liam just sat there, paper in hand, his mouth opening and closing like a fish. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone, I said, picking up my napkin. Does anyone want more turkey? The rest of the dinner was agonizing. Liam and Aunt Susan didn't say another word. They grabbed their coats and left before dessert was even served, Aunt Susan muttering something about a sick headache, and Liam refusing to make eye contact with anyone. My phone started buzzing before I'd even cleared the table. My mother, Taylor, what on earth did you do? Aunt Susan is hysterical. My uncle, that was deeply inappropriate and a private matter. I sent a single text back to both of them. It stopped being private when he stole $84,000 from my team. The next few days were a barrage of angry, confused, and from a few cousins, equally supportive texts. I ignored them all. I was waiting. On Monday morning, I walked into the office with a box of donuts for my team. I went straight to Chloe's desk, holding a coffee for her. Well, I asked. She didn't say anything. She just pointed to her computer monitor. I leaned over. There, on her screen, was a new email notification from the bank. Subject, incoming wire transfer confirmation. Amount, $84,320. 17 from Consult Liam LLC. Time, 7:04 a.m. No note, Chloe said, a huge grin spreading across her face. No apology, just the money. Good. I said, taking a sip of my own coffee. That's all I wanted. I went to my boss, explained the situation in full, and by lunchtime, the $84,000 was moved from bad debt back to our department's P&L. By the end of the day, an email went out to my entire team. Due to a Q4 budget reconciliation, all bonus-eligible team members will see a 10% upward adjustment in their upcoming December paycheck. The reaction from my team, the relief and happiness, was worth 1,000 awkward family dinners. The family, as you can imagine, is. Frosty, Aunt Susan, and Liam didn't come to Christmas. My mom said I tore the family apart over money, and I told her no, Liam did. We're polite, but the old, easy dynamic is gone, and frankly, I don't miss it. I learned something important. Funny money is what entitled people call the success they don't understand. Real money is what you earn, what you're owed, and what you have a right to defend. My cousin thought my $25 million was a joke, but his $84,000 debt was deadly serious, and in the end, the real world he was so proud of had no choice but to pay up.